Okay, let's unpack this. We are dropping headlong into a world that feels like it's right on the brink of collapse. You've got this massive, epic war raging on the borders, but the real political plots, they're being hatched inside secret rooms. And the fate of the future, it seems, hinges entirely on a single, really shocking prophecy about a child.
It's definitely a study in extremes, you know. You have the raw, visible savagery of this ale invasion threatening to just sweep away civilization as they know it. And then kind of running underneath, there's this quiet, almost paralyzing fear of internal betrayal, something that could just destroy their whole society from within.
Right. So our mission today really is to try and distill the immediate crisis, this really high stakes situation we see in these sources. We're basically cracking two plot lines. They run parallel for a bit, and then suddenly, violently, they just crash together. You've got the military front against the Ale, and then you have this treacherous power play, this secret search unfolding inside the White Tower in Tarvalon. And our main characters here are caught right in the middle of it all. We're going to follow a legendary warrior who's fighting a war he pretty much knows is already lost, and two young women who are sworn to find a child that, frankly, the whole world seems to be hunting, whether they realize it yet or not. So we should probably begin far from those marble walls of Tarvalon, right? Out on the brutal battle lines in the snow. This is where we first meet the legendary warrior, Lan Mandragoran. He's there desperately trying to rally what's left of this dying great coalition. Almost 200,000 men from over a dozen nations. It's huge.
Yeah, Lon. I mean, he really is the definition of impossible duty, isn't he? He's the uncrowned king of a nation, Malkier, that, well, it doesn't exist anymore. And the weight of that loss, it's just constantly on him. You could feel it. He literally wears his tradition, you know, the Hadori, that thin braided leather cord. It rests in this permanent groove across his forehead. It's like this constant physical reminder of his foundational oath.
And what exactly does that oath demand of him, especially now in this war?
It's incredibly stark. It says, to stand against the shadow so long as iron is hard and stone abides. To defend the Malkieri while one drop of blood remains. To avenge what cannot be defended.
Hmm.
And the sources tell us he upholds this even though his current enemy, the Ale, they aren't even Trollocs or Dark Friends technically. So he's fighting this war based on a principle, a duty that kind of transcends the specific enemy in front of him.
That level of mental discipline, it just sounds incredibly taxing. Does the source material give us any hints about the psychological toll, fighting while completely empty of emotion?
It does explain how he manages it. He practices something called Gordy, the oneness.
Mm-hmm.
It's described as this severe mental discipline where he basically sheeds all his emotion, frustration, anger, weariness, everything, into this imaginary flame until he's just sort of floating in total emptiness. And this allows him to fight with like perfect clarity, using these signature sword forms like cutting the clouds.
Uh-huh.
He does it without anger, narrowing his vision or, leading him into foolish choices. It really is the ultimate warrior's sacrifice, isn't it? He has to be empty to survive.
And the Ale are certainly not making survival easy for anyone. These sources, they describe them just spilling across the spine of the world, that huge mountain range, burning the city of Carrion, ravaging the Southlands for, 2 years, before they even reached the gates of Tarvalon.
Yeah, and their fighting style is what really puzzles Lan and the whole coalition. They carry these short spears, round bull-hide bucklers, and they hardly ever ride horses, yet somehow they move incredibly fast. And crucially, during one sudden retreat, Lan's company heard them shout this single booming word, Alain, Elaine, which apparently is Old Tongue for one man alone. Now, using that phrase in a military context like that, it suggests there's some larger, darker game being played that just defies basic strategy. It's unsettling.
It feels like that puzzle fits into a bigger, sort of terrible realization happening. Geopolitically, the urgency of this whole war, it seems fueled by this fear of cyclical prophecy. Historians are whispering that the major Dark One-inspired conflicts, the Trolloc Wars, the War of the 100 Years, they tend to repeat roughly every 1,000 years.
Yeah.
And this Ale invasion, it's hitting close enough to that 1,000-year mark to make people genuinely believe the Dark One is cycling back into power.
Exactly. It gives the whole war this sense of apocalyptic dread. Lan isn't just fighting an enemy army. In a way, he feels like he's fighting history itself.
Okay, so the danger outside the city is clear, it's visible. But let's turn our attention inside the White Tower now, because there's this invisible danger unfolding at the exact same time. And this is where the future of that war, and maybe every war to come, is secretly being decided.
Absolutely. And the catalyst for this entire internal plot line is this catastrophic event, the death of Guitarist Sedai. She apparently died immediately after issuing a foretelling so terrifying that the Amyrlin seat herself, Tamra, initiated this massive, very secret mission. The goal, to find male infants born within a very specific 10-day window right after that foretelling, and crucially, born within sight of Dragon Mount, that massive mountain that's so central to the Dragon Reborn prophecy.
Wow. And this huge secret task fell to two young accepted, basically trainees, right? Moiraine and Siuan. They were sworn to absolute secrecy. And the sources really highlight the contrast between them. Moiraine, she's the noblewoman, precise, born to wealth. And Siuan is the fisherman's daughter, kind of rough-edged, docks-born. What made them, the perfect and maybe dangerous pair for this mission?
Well, it's interesting because despite Moiraine's noble background, the sources say she found it surprisingly natural to follow Siuan's lead. Siuan was just, as they put it, born to lead. Their task was incredibly dangerous, though. They had to hide in plain sight, visiting maternity wards, refugee camps, compiling lists of names, all under this fake cover story that they were administering some kind of White Tower bounty program for babies born during the war.
And all this incredibly secret, high-stakes work was happening right before their own terrifying test for the shawl, for becoming full Aes Sedai. I have to say, the description of Moiraine's test, that really sticks out.
Oh yeah, it's memorable because it blends this physical impossibility with sheer mental focus. She has to walk this gauntlet of nightmares, basically, channeling all five powers: air, earth, fire, water, and spirit, to complete this really complex weave of light. And while she's doing this, Trollocs are literally dropping over the walls, trying to tear her apart, but she maintains her focus by dancing a court dance. Precise court dance. So she's hurling fireballs and calling down lightning while doing this intricate jig. It's wild.
That detail really brings it to life, doesn't it? But for Moiraine, the sources seem to suggest something even scarier than physical danger was lurking around her. What was this political threat she was facing? Something she apparently feared even more than fighting Trollocs.
Yeah, is the Carrion political machine. After her uncle, King Laman, died, the one whose actions arguably started the Ale War. Well, after his death, two powerful sitters from the Hall of the Tower, the gray sitter Jarna Malari and this aggressive red sitter Sutama Roth, they were openly plotting to put Moiraine herself on the Sun Throne of Carrion. And Moiraine saw this political scheming as far more likely to plunge her nation back into another massive war than any immediate attack by the Shadows. She was desperate to avoid it.
Okay, so we have the external military threat, the internal political threat, but then the sources show us the danger just accelerates dramatically. It morphs into this hidden, really personal betrayal once the focus shifts back toward the borderlands.
That's exactly the moment of convergence. Lan's personal obligations, they get reignited when he returns to the Borderlands region, near Malkier. His former lover, Eden Errol, is strategically trying to raise the Golden Crane, that's the symbol of Malkier, in his name. She basically forces his hand. She uses public pressure by pledging fealty to him in this massive gathering in the city of Chachin. It effectively pressures him to try and reclaim his dead nation. She's weaponizing his own oath against him, really.
Wow. So while Lan is wrestling with that duty, politics, past love back in the White Tower, the secret mission just completely collapses. Tamra, the Amyrlin seat who started the whole search, she dies unexpectedly in her sleep. Okay, maybe possible. But then, one by one, four other sisters known to be intimately involved in the search, Aisha, Karine, Mylin, and Ludice, they also die in highly suspicious accidents.
And that is the point. The point where Moiraine and Siuan, they have to confront something, well, unthinkable, really. They realize a hidden enemy must be systematically eliminating Tamra's chosen searchers. Their terrifying conclusion is that the Black Ajah dark friend Aes Sedai is active within the White Tower itself. And this realization, it fundamentally shatters the most certain thing in their world, which is the belief that Black Sisters might actually be able to lie, thereby breaking the 3 oaths sworn on the oath rod. That was supposed to be impossible.
Right, the tower itself is compromised. And then these plots, the tower plot and Lan's plot, they violently intersect in that city, Chachin. Lan's trusted teacher, his lifelong friend, Bukama Marinellin, he's found murdered. A knife in his back in some narrow passage off a practice yard. And suddenly, the secret tower machinations become instantly horribly personal for Lan, the warrior.
And almost immediately, Lan himself becomes a target. An assassination attempt occurs. He's hit with the one power something unseen, strikes his ankles and his back. It causes him to tumble down this long stone staircase, and he barely escapes with his life. He knows he was targeted by magic, by the power. in his immediate suspicion. It falls squarely on the Aya Sedai scheme, the one he figures must have somehow tangled Bukama in his deadly net.
So you have this bruised, furious Lan confronting Moiraine. He suspects she's responsible, right? Or at least indirectly involved in his friend's death. What's Moiraine's position during this incredibly tense confrontation?
Oh, she's desperate. She knows the real danger now is likely Moiraine, the former mistress of novices, who she realizes is also in Chachin and is almost certainly Black Ajah. Moiraine tries to warn Lan about the Black Ajah, about the true nature of the threat. She actually tries to secure his loyalty for the hunt for the child, urging him specifically to keep Izel, that's the daughter of his former lover Edain, away from Moiraine at all costs. This confrontation, this moment, it's where that military loyalty and the Tower Secret mission finally irrevocably merge.
And that's pretty much where the source material leaves our heroes, isn't it? Battered, feeling betrayed, and dangerously isolated. The sources really highlight how duty, whether it's Lan's rigid oath to avenge Malkier or Moiraine and Siuan's shared promise to find this prophesied child, that duty is what pushes them against both visible armies and this terrifying hidden betrayal.
Yeah, and if we connect this to the bigger picture, the vulnerability of even the most powerful people is just intense. A Sedai, supposedly untouchable, can be murdered by their own kind. And a legendary warrior like Lan can be felled by invisible magic he can't even see coming. The pursuit of the Dragon Reborn has shifted, hasn't it? From a quiet, almost clerical task in Tarvalon to this desperate race for survival across the borderlands. And now Moiraine and Siuan are the only ones left with that crucial list, operating in total secrecy.
The sources definitely leave us with a very specific question to mull over, though. Who was responsible for that assassination attempt on Lan? Was it maybe his former lover Edain, strategically trying to kill or injure him, maybe using the resulting outrage to finally raise the Golden Crane and force his hand towards war? Or was it an agent of the Black Ajah, like Moiraine, who we know is now in Chachin and actively trying to derail Moiraine's efforts by eliminating her potential protector? It could be either.
And beyond that specific question, the very discovery of the Black Ajah, it just changes everything because it strikes right at the foundation of their world. Moiraine had believed, absolutely, that the 3 oaths sworn by every single sister were unbreakable, ironclad. So if Black Sisters can lie, if the most fundamental societal promise of truth is now demonstrably false, what other unbreakable rules of their world, the ethical codes, the geopolitical certainties, the very structure of their society, what else might also be fundamentally flawed or breakable? That's definitely something worth mulling over.